As good as always, even better. I guess you're getting better with time.
You are looking at us through vortex-colored glasses.
Not yet, I'm just trying. I had some interesting time in my life a few years ago, and I was reading Murphy as The Power of Positive Thinking. Very interesting book, and I do believe that we create in our life what we think of, that our thinking become our reality. So I was reading this book for 4 months, and I was really getting into the point where, you know, I'm ready to meet this person. I met this guy, I fall in love. I felt with all my being that that's it. That's what I need in life. That's what I want in life. 3 years later, we are going through the divorce, and basically big love turned into big nightmare. And I have a problem with understanding what vibration I created that I attracted this man, what I'm doing wrong.
Well, it isn't that you did anything wrong, and we will talk about the vibration of attraction in this, but just relax. We want to give you a full picture of how this all comes together, because it isn't that you do something wrong, it's that you and almost everybody else were approaching the achievement or the attaining or the accomplishing of that relationship from a flawed premise. And the flawed premise is, when you are looking to another person for someone who makes you feel good, makes you feel loved, makes you feel appreciation, cares for you, cares about you, when you are looking to any other person to fulfill those desires within you, you are looking for that fulfillment in the wrong place, because the only place that you can find that is in alignment with this larger part of you. So what happens that makes it so hard to understand but easy for us to explain, because we can see the whole picture, is that this person who seemed like the one that you'd been looking for and the one that would satisfy all of those things within you, little did you know, flawed premise that you didn't understand, was that that relationship was going to cause a dramatic and quick further expansion of that which is you. So almost the minute that relationship began, it caused you to expand past it, and it couldn't keep up with you. Then you do what almost everybody does. You keep looking to it, asking for it to evolve and change. In other words, you need to be what you've helped me know that I want, but it never happens that way. So the clear premise that we want you to derive from all of this is, and we'll just speak it in really simple terms, is while that relationship superficially seemed to meet many of the requirements that you had set out for what you were looking for in a fulfilling relationship, your ability to expand even further happened so quickly that it came up short. Here's another way of saying it. You heard us say it earlier when we said to the woman who said, "My lover has left and now I'm sad." You are not sad because the relationship didn't work out. You are sad because in looking at a failed relationship, you are depriving yourself of the new and improved relationship that is in this vortex. But this vortex conversation is annoying. It falls on deaf ears to someone who's looking for the physical, tangible, right now, this red hot minute person to fulfill that relationship. In other words, we want to convince you that through life you've become this vibrational being, and it's finding alignment with this vibrational being that is what true love is. Finding your soulmate is mating with your soul. Coming into completion with who you are constantly becoming is the first and necessary step.
Okay, I'm reading your vortex. I was listening CDs about asking is given. I absolutely agree with you. I believe it starts with me. I have to be fulfilled on all levels. Then I will attract this person who is fulfilled, and then it will be a productive relationship. Then it will be. I have a hard time controlling my feelings. You know, well, start with positive. Start enjoying every minute in your life. I have a problem doing this. I have to constantly watch myself, what I am thinking. Since this relationship fallen apart, I became mental wreck trying to figure out why it's happened. Then I started to listen to your tapes. It's very difficult for me to get into a sense of peace.
That's why we're trying to give you a different way of orienting yourself. And if you could just hear and receive this annoying but simple premise, and that is, in really, really elementary terms, you're expanding faster than that relationship could keep up with. So that relationship had to fall by the wayside in order to allow you to be who you really are. In other words, that's the kindest way of saying it.
Esther, funny question. How many times I need to get married to find out?
Well, the answer to that is...
And expanding at the same time as my partner.
If you keep getting married from outside the vortex, then there's a never-ending married journey ahead of you. But if you will get in the vortex and maintain your vibrational integrity with the vortex for a while, then only one more time.
Okay.
Because getting into the vortex aligns you with the whole of you. And when you are aligned with the whole of you, then you are a vibrational magnet to all of the things that matter to you. You see, if you've got things you want and sometimes you're a match to it, and a lot of things you don't want and sometimes you're a match to it, then you're this mixed bag attracting your partners. So when you attract your partners as a mixed bag, you get mixed experiences that come. But you're expanding, and so soon this part of you, this non-physical source energy part of you, will always be dominant. It will always be dominant.
Another question. Since I was 13, I always wanted to have a big family. I'm going to be 30 next month. And there is an interesting situation. I hear my clock, my biological clock ticking. I want more children. At the same time, this work on yourself, getting you to the vortex, as you say, where everybody will say, well, what did you do? I'm in the vortex. I think I have a long time to go. It takes a lot of personal work on yourself. It's not 1 month, 2 months. It may be years until I will get myself into the vortex.
Well, then you're not listening to anything we're saying, and you're not willing to apply anything. We think it should take you a day. We think you should be there by tomorrow. We think that if you would stop beating the drum of what's going wrong, you'd go right now. We think that the larger part of you is there. We think it's the easiest place to be. We think it's the most natural state of being to be in. You go into the vortex every single day for a little bit of time. We just want you to be aware of the difference between the relief of being in there and the tension of not being in there. And instead of arguing for your limitations, instead of getting your fists out or getting your words out or getting your thoughts out as you are defending that position, you cannot defend your out of the vortex position without holding yourself out of the vortex. You've got to give up that battle. And what we're wanting to convince you of is that your vortex is very powerful. We can feel it. We can see it. That's one thing about the vortex that we have access to that you don't. You can't see what's in there or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it, but you could emotionally feel it if you would just reach for the feeling of it. We promise you that what you want is there, and we promise you that the amount of time that must expand between your receiving the full manifestation of it and where you are right now is not a long period of time.
How do I hold in myself? How do I do it?
By listening to the fervor of that which we say. By saying to yourself, I don't believe this yet, but I know that Abraham does. I don't even know if this vortex is a reality, but I know that Abraham believes that this vortex is a reality. I am vividly aware of my emotions, and I will give it to Abraham Abraham, that my emotions are my indication of my resistance, and I'm going to do everything in my power to lighten up a little bit, to not make the stakes feel so high, to take the risk factor out, to stop beating the drum of me not doing well enough, of watching my biological clock or listening to it ticking away. I'm going to accept, just as a premise, that this vibrational reality exists, because I look out into this physical world and I must accept that there is much more to this world that we are living in than what I can explain through my physical senses. I accept that there are laws, and I know that I am a powerful creator, and I also accept that I couldn't feel this bad if there wasn't something that good that I'm depriving myself of. The badness that I feel is equivalent, the opposite side of the wave, to who I really am and what I really deserve and what I really want. And I'm going to stumble into the vortex in whatever way I can, and then I'm going to milk it when I'm there, until I'm going to train myself into a vibrational frequency of more positive expectation. A vibrational frequency. I want to love the man who just walked away. I want to love him for the man that he has set forward for me. I want to love the aspects of my life. I want to be the mother of my children who are in my vibrational vortex. I want to have these manifestations. But more than all of that, I want the peace that I will have only when I want the peace that I will have only when I train myself into the absence of resistance. It's so much easier to do the work from inside the vortex. And it's so hard to do it from outside. But then your logical question is, but if I'm Abraham, if I'm not in there, shouldn't I do something about getting in? And we say, not really, just sleep more. Just bask more, just try less, just lighten up, let go of the struggle, let go of the determination to make it happen, let go of the determination, and try to trust that there's a larger part of you, infinitely interested in you because it is you, who is tending to all of that good stuff that you've put there, who will call you in, call you in, call you in. Just chill and release and play our silly games and bask more and try to meditate a little bit. And if you find yourself in the vortex, sometimes you'll see something that will just make your heart jump just a little bit. Jerry and Esther drove across the desert, and the wildflowers were just amazing. For miles and miles and miles, it was impossible to see that and not feel good. So then acknowledge, oh, I'm in the vortex. Flowers put me there, but who cares how I got there? I'm in the vortex. And then don't make a big deal out of being in the vortex, and don't tense about getting dumped out of it or spit out of it. Instead, just say, I'm in the vortex. I'd like to spend more time here. And then just softly try to bask a little. When you discover that you are in the vortex, it's helpful to acknowledge the components that made it feel good. Jerry and Esther went to a restaurant here the other night. They'd never been there before. The bellman recommended it, and the minute they sat down, they began to acknowledge the aspects of that beautiful place that were the reason that they were feeling the way they were feeling. It was just an opulent place, chandeliers that were works of art, and beautiful, tasteful furnishings, and such elegant people managing the place, and such experts at cooking. And it was just so easy to feel good in that environment. But they milked it anyway. For 2 hours they milked it. They milked it until everyone in the place was in love with them, because they were in love with their moment in time. So often you're there. Just milk it when you're there, and don't struggle one bit when you're not there. But when you're there, just milk it when you're there, and don't struggle one bit when you're not there. And just with that attention to just milking it when you're there, you will train yourself into that higher, less resistant, in the vortex frequency. And your new love will show up fast. Good time for a segment of lunch.